Hey, thanks for asking me the question. So I thought I'd do a video response as I can provide a bit more detail a lot more quicker as I can articulate a little bit more clearly through my verbal response. So before I even try pronouncing your name, I did look it up. I know it's got a Brazilian, Portuguese, um, uh, background, I guess, for pronouncing, or there's also a Spanish take as well. I am going to butcher your name, so just I forgive me, but I did try to get it right for you. So I believe if I'm pronouncing it right, it's Rogerdu, if I'm saying that correctly. But let me get to your question. I got a bunch more information than I messaged back to you. So first of all, it's a really great question. Besides some fundamental economic factors you'd want to take into consideration, there's also your main revenue stream, which is your tenant. So where would I go with this? I guess what I'm trying to say is the tenant is actually the most important factor, and this tenant you're gonna have to have a long-term relationship with it. It's almost kind of like it's kind of like dating in the sense that you're going to have ongoing communications. You're expecting to get rent paid to you every month, and then if you've done the job right, hopefully they stay with you for more than 1 year. I'm assuming if you are doing long-term rentals. So there's a few strategies I would use to figure out what my ideal tenant demographic is already if you don't have that figured out. And some of those tips are simply coming down and being in the community, the area that you're looking to invest in, and actually sitting and observing the people coming in and out of that community to get a really good idea of the type of people that live in that community. And what I mean by that is you could park at perhaps the entrance of the community somewhere if it's safe to do that, or in a parking lot of some strip malls or stores in the area of that community, and and just sit there for an hour, get a cup of coffee from Starbucks or Tim Hortons, and take notes and just make observations as you see the people coming and going, and that will give you a really good feel, firsthand perspective of the type of people that live there. For some more stat-driven or data points to look at, if you go to realtor.ca and look at the MLS listings in the community, you go past the actual listings. I forget where it is exactly. I think there's another tab that give you a demographic profile, and they have a bunch of data points, including salary ranges, male and female, marital status, job types or employment types of the folks that live in that community. So you can get kind of another level of breakdown of just stats, or I guess of data points of the demographic that you're looking for. And I really stress this is super important. I mean, for sure, it fundamentally picking a good sound property with good economic fundamentals is very important too. But just as important is you could have the perfect property, but if you have tenants that are not paying you, doesn't matter how perfect that property is, you're not making money and then you're losing it. So it's so important to pick tenants that you're able to communicate ongoing with easily and match the style, the personality of who you are, that you can interface easily with. That'll help you stay in the game longer, and yeah, just kind of do that really well. Lastly, specifics to Edmonton. I'm from Calgary, but I have invested up in Edmonton. What I know, and I would suggest posting this question to the people that live in Edmonton as well to get their take on that, is investing near, there's a new hospital campus, South Campus going in. I forget the name of it, but there's a new hospital being built down the south. So if you be, within a reasonable drive of the hospital or transit to the hospital would be great. Transit, especially permanent transit, which is LRT or light rail train stations, are always good to be close by. The general rule of thumb is you'll see in good times you'll be able to charge more rent, and in challenging economic times you'll be able to maintain your existing rent without having to reduce it as much as the exact same property that's not within close distance or proximity of an LRT station. And that's typically defined is how far it takes for you to walk to it. Generally, people are willing to walk between that, I'd call it that 5 to 6 minute range up to maybe a 12 to 15-minute range. That sweet spot in and around that 7 to 10 minutes. If you buy a property that's in that walking distance of a train station, that's where you'll really get the trickle effect, or that radar, like that kind of yeah, I'll call it the trickle effect of being so close. You'll have better long-term appreciation, and again, as I mentioned, renting out will be easier because that's an amenity that people want, and you also have more tenants to pick from because you can now include people that don't own a vehicle. So it definitely helps you. Obviously, you can tell I do like the transit, but the same thing as well. In Edmonton, there's the Anthony Henday Ring Road, and so that's if you can be within a very short couple minute drive, 2 minute drive of getting onto that major roadway or getting up to it. That's also super important because then you're going to appeal to the folks as well that have vehicles that need to commute for their job. On top of that, if you could look at major amenities in the area, so I did mention the hospital. In addition, there would be the airport that's just south of Edmonton out by Leduc. And perhaps major shopping centers. If there's an Amazon distribution center, which you typically buy close by airports, so that's another great reason to be by that area. Leduc's a major industrial area. Obviously, Alberta, we're oil and gas, so Edmonton is the blue collar side of that business. There's lots of field shops out in and around the Leduc and Edmonton area too. So hope that helps out. And if you don't mind, if you just let me know if I can throw this video up on the community at large, because I think it's a very valuable question, and I have seen it come up more times than once. So I hope that helps, and take care.